Hey, how's it going? It's Sunday. It's Sunday, December 7th. It's like 4:30, almost 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Uh, I slept all day. I had a friend call me up yesterday and tell me that he needed some help with something today. And he's like, I want to leave early. I want to leave at like 8:30. Well, I was up at 7:30 and I called him at like, I don't know, maybe 9, and he didn't respond to me. And then I called him again, and he was like give me like an hour. Give me like an hour and I'll get back to you. And I waited an hour, called him again. He's like, give me 10 minutes. I'm like, okay, 10 minutes. So I walked to the corner to go meet him, and 20 minutes later, he hasn't shown up. So in the meantime, uh, I thought I saw Uranus driving around a couple times, like a couple times. I thought I saw her in a couple of cars, and so that just started pissing me off, you know. And then I ran out of cigarettes, so that pissed me off. And then he's not showing up. My friend's not showing up, so that pissed me off. So I was like, "Fuck this! I'm going home. I'm going to fuck back to sleep," you know. And that was, I guess that was, I don't know, maybe 12:30 in the afternoon, and came back home, fell asleep. I just woke up. I just woke up. I just opened my eyes. I had a little bit to eat. My mom made some dinner. My mom made some macaroni and chicken, and with some sauce, and we had some Asiago, sprinkled Asiago cheese on top. It was pretty good. I was thinking about like two things that I've always wanted. Two things that I mean I've had, but two things I've always wanted that, like, let's start, I don't know, you know, we'll start from back when when I got my license, right? There were a few girls involved in my life, right? There was this girl Heather, right? I was really close to Heather, but she was really close to my friend Frank, right? And I knew that her and Frank were fooling around, but it didn't bother me much, and I would go hang out with her. Frank fooled around with every girl, and I really liked this girl Heather, and I was dating this other girl from a high school, and we were in a relationship for like 5 years. And towards the end of the relationship, I would actually, I never cheat. Well, I would drop her off at home, get on the bus, and instead of going home, I'd go to this girl Heather's house, and we wouldn't fool around or anything, but we'd sit, we'd talk, we'd joke around and stuff. She used to make me these Long Island iced teas, and when I was going to school in Manhattan, sometimes I'd run into her on the train coming home. So we used to take the train home together, and we used to just talk and stuff. And I was really attracted to this girl. She lived on my cousin's block, and I kind of grew up with her and stuff. But so like, so I got the car, and I'm like, okay, let's hook up with Heather. But meanwhile, I think Heather was with somebody else, and then I ended up going out. I met this guy Frank, and he worked at a deli, and he took me out to this pool hall where I met my kid's mom. And so once met my kid's mom, I kind of cut myself out. I cut myself out from socializing with everybody, and I met my kid's mom, and like she was like, we didn't have much money. We didn't really work. Neither one of us didn't really work or anything. I was just working. I had a relationship with this other girl, and this girl Krista. She got me a job at a restaurant, and I was kind of coming out of the relationship with this girl Krista and going into this relationship with my kid's mom. And I remember, like, I just got my license, and my mom would let me take the car basically whenever I wanted. My mom worked nights, so I would get the car. I would usually take the car during the day. I was free during the day to take the car, because my mom worked nights. And like what I used to do with the car, like, so my kid's mom ended up getting a job at a bridal shop, and every morning I'd get up and I'd drive her to work, and we'd stop off at like Burger King or something, grab something from Burger King, and then I'd drive her to work, and then at night I'd pick her up from work, and then either I'd give my mom the car, or if I wanted the car at night, I'd drop my mom off at work. So when I was in my 20s, like my early 20s, 19 and 20, I had a car. It wasn't my own, but I shared it with my mom. A little later on, when I was like 21, my kid's mom's brother got a new car, and he gave me his old car. But all I really used that car for is to get to work, And then it ended up breaking down, and then my fucking mom donated it to Toys for Tots. Like, oh, she did it like behind my back and shit, like where I didn't even get a chance to fix it or nothing. And and then like me and the kid, me and my me and my kid's mom, we broke up. It was a really bad breakup. It was a really bad breakup. And right away she started seeing other guys. I moved back into my parents because we lived in an apartment together that I was paying for. I ended up moving back into my parents. No joke, for like 20 years. 20 years all I did was work. All I did was go into work. I went into work, uh did my job, came home, and slept. And that's what I did for like 20 years. And I mean, I fooled around with some crap, here and there. Like I fooled around with a little weed. I fooled around with a little cocaine. You know, uh, I drank a lot. I drank a lot, and and but for like 20 years, I did not have any type of intimacy. Like I had nobody giving me hugs. I had nobody giving me hugs. I had nobody. I didn't know anyone. I didn't go out to clubs or anything like that or meet anyone. There was a bar in the neighborhood that I would go out to, but I never met anyone there. And I just 20 years, like I went without any type of intimacy. I never had a booty call. I never had a girl coming over to my house. I never cuddled and watched TV with a girl for 20 years. And I got my social security. I got my social security maybe about 12 years ago now. And when I got my social security, I looked up in the yellow pages. I was like, let's get a girl over. Let's see if we could get a girl to come over. And I looked up in the yellow pages, and I found this ad for like Asian escorts. And I had this Asian girl come over a couple of times, And then from there, like from there, I gave that kind of like a break for a while, and and then and then I ended up like calling these girls off of this web page that I found, you know, and it. I think I see. I don't know what I'm getting at, but follow along with me. I don't know what I'm getting at, but I see this girl. It looks like Uranus. I don't. I'm so obsessed with Uranus. I mean, it's ridiculous. And I think I see her driving around with guys. You know, and it really irritates me. And we're not seeing each other. We're not seeing each other anymore. But I don't think I should be subject to seeing her drive around the neighborhood that I live in with guys. You know, and it pisses me off. And one thing I've always wanted, I've always wanted a car. I've always wanted my own transportation, and I've always wanted a girlfriend. And like, you know, I haven't had it in such a long time. I haven't had it in years, and no one wants to be friends. None of these girls just want to be friends with me. Like if I want a girl over, it costs money. It all costs money. And like no girls just want to be friends with me. There's no girl that's like, oh, that guy Richie, he's so cute. I want to hang out with him today. I came into that. I came into that for a little while. I met that girl, Abigail. I met that girl, Abigail. She was homeless, and she was like, yeah, I'll hang out with you. And that, I don't know how that even happened. And my fucking father ruined that. My fucking father ruined that. I couldn't even let her in the house because I just met her. And my parents would freak if if I was like, oh, I just met this girl and let her in the house. My parents would freak out. And, we were camping out in the garage in this, whatever, in the summer, in the spring, and my dad freaked out about that. My dad's like, oh, I don't want any guests. You know, my mom went up to him. My mom, we were both in the garage hanging out, and my mom goes up to her, and my mom looks her dead in the eyes and goes, "Are you the angel I was praying my son would meet?" And then 2 days later, my mom walks up to her and goes, "Look, you got to leave. My husband doesn't want any guests, and if you don't leave, we're calling the cops and telling them you're trespassing." And then it just fucking killed it for me. They fucked that up for me. And then, like, the whole thing with Uranus, when I wanted to drive Uranus home, they made a big fucking stink about me driving her home. And, they made like a big deal. They made like a big deal. They didn't want me to have escorts over because they said they're scared the pimp's going to break into the house. And I talked to Uranus and I told Uranus, look, when you come over, don't come with a driver. Come in an Uber and leave in an Uber, and I'll pay for an Uber, right? Or else I'll drive you home. And that's what we did. That's the deal we made, and that's the deal we stuck to. And they still gave me a hard time about it. And like, I just want to be happy. And one of the things that would make me happy is to have my own transportation, to have my own type of transportation, and to be able to have a girlfriend. And my dad's like, oh, when you get your own place, you could have whatever you want. When I get my own place, I can't afford shit. I can't afford shit. I don't make enough money. I don't get enough money to fucking afford shit. First of all, every girl I see, I have to pay, right? And then if I get my own apartment, I can't afford to fucking pay anybody. What am I going to afford? Fucking 15 minutes, a kiss on the fucking cheek? And it's just really hard. It's really hard. It's really difficult. I'm really depressed about it, and like, I don't know if people understand, I don't know if people understand how lucky they are. Like, people that are married and shit like that, and people that have partners and shit like that. Like, you know, I don't know how they found their partners, but like, it's really difficult being able to connect with somebody and being able to have a girlfriend, and I tried going to school. I tried doing things like, my mom tells me, oh, if you go to work, you'll meet someone at work, and I didn't meet anyone at work. The girls that I worked with, they were all younger than me. None of them, most of them had boyfriends. None of them were interested in hooking up with me. And like, do you really want to hook up with someone you work with and then you got to see them every single day, you know? And then like at work, like, no. And my mom's like, I went to school, and my mom's like, go to school and you'll meet somebody at school. And I went to school and I didn't meet anybody at school. Like, I got some girl's email that like I never hooked up with. And it just sucks, man. I'm getting older and older and older, and I find myself, more alone, and more like, you know, more in a bubble, you know, more secluded, and like, here's another night, it's gonna go by, and like, I have nobody. It's the winter time, it's cuddle season, and like, it's the winter time, and I have a room, and you know I just want someone over. I just want someone I could chill with and have somebody over. and it sucks, and I can't have that, and I don't understand why. I don't understand why I can't have that. Why didn't God give that to me? Why can't I have that? You know? So now I'm talking to my lawyer, and I'm going to get some money, and the first thing I'm going to do is go buy a motorcycle. The first thing I'm going to do in the fucking winter, I'm going to go buy a motorcycle. I've always wanted a motorcycle since I'm like 20 years old. Since I'm younger than that, I had this uncle Craig John, and he had a motorcycle, and I'd go out to Long Island with my mom to go visit him and my aunt, and he'd give me rides on the motorcycle in my aunt's backyard, and I was terrified then, and then growing up, like, I had a friend Gerard, and he would hang out with kids. He'd get bikes and stuff like that, and then, like, my uncle Wayne, he rode, and I'd go piggyback with him to trips upstate, to trips to New Jersey or Pennsylvania, and I loved it. It was the coolest thing, and I remember, like, back in 2001, 2002, I remember first when I first saw the Honda, the Honda RR 600 with the tail exhaust. I was like, oh, that's the coolest fucking concept. That's the coolest idea, to put that exhaust out the tail. I was like, I love this bike, and I wanted it so bad, and I couldn't figure out a way to get it, and my parents wouldn't help me get it, and nobody would help me get it, and, like, now I finally have money, and I can't really afford a car, and like, what am I'm gonna get a bike, and then I'll have some money left over, and I'll be able to have some girls come over or something like that. Like, if I manage my money the right way, you know, I'll be able to get a girl over like once a week, something like that. And I'll be able to get her some stuff, and it probably won't be like a lasting relationship. It's probably not going to be a relationship that's going to last. But at least you know, I'll have a moment where, like, I could breathe and be like, yeah, like, I feel loved, and I don't know what I'm doing. I'm like, I'm gaining weight. I'm gaining weight. I'm getting a lot of weight, and I'm smoking a lot. I got to try to lose some weight. I got to try to walk more, and I hope everyone has a nice evening. And this is my dinosaur that I'm laying on. This is my dinosaur, my blue dinosaur I'm laying on. And this is my chicken. This is my cock. This is my cock. It's the cock from Moana. Look. Isn't that hysterical? I had the piggy. I had the piggy, but I had a girl over last Saturday, and we didn't do anything crazy. Uh, but she was like, she loved the pig. She fell in love with the pig. She was like, "Could I take this?" I was like, I looked into her beautiful brown eyes. I said, "Baby, I can't say no to you. Take my piggy." And so she ran away with my pig. But I don't know. I'm gonna get more animals. I'm gonna get more animals. I'm gonna turn this place into a fucking zoo. It's gonna be great. I hope everyone has a good night. I'm watching motorcycle videos. I'm watching motorcycle videos to keep me busy, and I got nothing to do. I got nothing to do. Everyone have a good night. Goodbye.